everyone. I, Priti Pereira, Assistant Professor in Economics and Banking, is your today's host. The Economics Club of VBM Shri Damodar College of Commerce and Economics welcome you all for today's webinar. I would like to quote Sir Mark Twain, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." The topic for today's webinar is Creating Entrepreneurship Wealth Joyfully, under the theme How to Start a Profitable Business with a Very Little Money. The speaker for today's session is Mr. Raymond D'Souza, fashionpreneur, transition coach, and business strategist. Now I request Ms. Tessa Pereira, Assistant Professor in Economics and Banking and convener of the Economics Club, to introduce our resource person.
A very good afternoon to everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you our eminent resource person for today, Mr. Raymond D'Souza. Mr. D'Souza was a model seminarian and a respected and diligent professional. He reached the peak of his employee career at a national level position at the group headquarters of one of India's most successful companies and was suddenly sacked after his next job switch. He was unemployed, confused, depressed, and lonely for several months. Realizing that if this can happen to him, it could happen to others too. This experience became the pivot point of his transition from a profession to a vocation. All of his past coalesced into a burning desire to irreversibly empower others who fell into the same boat, to elevate their game and to move them to higher levels of professional and social contribution through commercial and social enterprises. He evolved as a trainer, facilitator, and business coach. Today, he is the only business coach in India offering 6 levels of progressive entrepreneurial growth and expansion to those committing themselves to his path of passion-based entrepreneurship. Mr. D'Souza calls passion-fueled entrepreneurship as passionpreneurship. As a passionpreneur coach, he handholds passion-based entrepreneur CEOs to start, turn around, and grow themselves and their business. The highly specialized professional services he offers are confidential, personalized, and designed completely around the deepest pains and vulnerabilities of the entrepreneur CEO. His mission is to turn passion into prosperity. Mr. D'Souza has successfully transitioned family-owned groups, multi-business owners, enterprise owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, micro-business owners, and corporate CEOs. Mr. D'Souza, thank you for accepting our invitation and conducting this webinar today. On behalf of the Economics Club of VVM Shri Damodar College of Commerce and Economics, I extend a warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Ms. Tessa. I request all the participants to mute their audios and videos, and if they have any queries or questions, they can put it in the chat box. Now over to you, sir.
Thank you, Tessa, and thank you, Damodar College, for this opportunity. And we will begin with the presentation right away.
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this session. It is going to be an interactive session, but please post your comments in the chat so that the flow of the presentation is not disturbed. You have already been told about this, so let's get down to the thing. So what are the normal entrepreneurial problems we face? Are there any other entrepreneurial problems that come to you which are not mentioned above? Please mention in the chat. Let's move ahead. So these are the typical problems. The biggest problem in entrepreneurship is being lonely. It is a very, very critical thing because you are not able to discuss with anybody what is going on in your mind. There are critical decisions to be made. You do not have a frame of reference for taking those decisions. You do not know whether to go left or whether to go right, whether you should act or whether you should sit tight. All these kind of questions keep coming up, and it's all with you. You try discussing with family, and there is an emotional storm which happens. You discuss with your business partners, and you can't come to agreements. You have employees, and they are not able to understand your perspective at the level at which you are functioning. Loneliness is the biggest problem for entrepreneurship. Then follow all the rest. Three things that we are going to achieve through this presentation. One is you will get a tool for self analysis. You'll get a lot of pointers for making course corrections, and you'll get a tentative roadmap for your entrepreneurial journey. There are two models in entrepreneurship. Most people use this highway for entrepreneurship. This is the model which is known and used for ages. And I call it a resource based or a competence based model. Our starting point is what we have been trained in, what we have qualifications in, the skill sets that we have acquired through our careers. This becomes our starting point. This model has evolved from the industrial age and the information age, more than 150 years old. And like our educational system, will not be really delivering the goods that we really require in the real world. This model is focused on making money by hook or by crook. There are no maps in this. So you don't know where you are headed, whether you will reach there, whether what you're doing is working, not working, no clarity, no map. Okay. So the only way you make headway is by trial and error. So the strategy that is highly recommended is go as fast as you can and keep making new mistakes. Don't repeat your mistakes, but make new mistakes. But other than making mistakes, they don't have a way of getting it right the first time. Let's look at the second model. Completely opposite to this. Resources are external to us. So when you have a resource based model, you are focusing on what is outside of you. Now, what happens when you focus on what is outside of you? You cannot control it. It is not in your control. So the problem with this is you remain helpless. In this model, which is on your screen, you are focusing on your resourcefulness. This is inside of you. When you focus on your resourcefulness, when you focus on the passions which you innately have, you are able to move ahead without depending on anybody else. And this is where you become unstoppable. The model number one was historically, it has historically evolved. This model is contemporary. It was codified at the beginning of this millennium by studying successful and unsuccessful billionaires. The other model is making money stressfully. This model is creating wealth joyfully. In other words, you do what you love and are able to effectively monetize it. This model gives you clear maps which help you to get direction, clarity, perspective. You get to know clinically whether something will work or not work. There are personalized pathways given. It becomes very clear to explain what will work for you, what will not work for you. In this model, you make a living by making a difference, by making a positive impact, which comes through contribution. In the other model, it doesn't matter to you how you make money. You could make money by making somebody else poorer. No clear benchmarks are given. And lastly, this is an integrated model. It integrates three areas: your personal life and growth, your monetary, tangible, measurable success in the commercial world, and the social contribution that you make out there. In other words, you can live a whole integrated life. It is not that one part of you is personal life, another part of you is your business life. This is an integrated model. And therefore, by following this model, it is very holistic and you can live a balanced life. This is a graphic made by Pierce Communications for me. It clearly shows out 9 levels of mastery. The word used at every level is mastery. And just like a pyramid, it is building bottom up. And level number 1, which is personal mastery, I call as the invisible foundation for all accomplishment. Let us understand this. If there are issues in your relationship, the only way to correct it is within yourself. If there are issues in your professional life, the right place to correct is at your personal level. If there are issues in your business, in your enterprise, with your partners, wherever, the root cause is lying with and within you. And this is why when you correct it at your personal level, when you are able to master yourself, for each time you are having issues at other levels, it helps you to become an achiever. This is how you get permanent solutions to nagging problems. This is how you reprogram your subconscious mind to ensure you are able to make the right progress. So, one, this graphic is demonstrating to you the clarity that we have in the system. You begin with your personal self, then you move to interpersonal. Then you develop the professional skill sets that are needed to be successful in the commercial world. You build a business model to learn how to monetize what you have. Then you build an enterprise and you become an owner so that it operates without your physical presence. When you have one enterprise, you have time and money. And then what you can do is you are able to partner with others and build other enterprises. So this is the way you are able to be a multi-business owner when you diversify your businesses. This model will tell you how to diversify in a way that is synergistic and doesn't take you all over the place and doesn't get you into trial and error businesses. Next level is now when you have got multiple business partners, multiple businesses, and multiple investments, you bring them all together under one umbrella brand, that is institution building, which can remain long after you have gone. And this is how we have got institutions which are educational institutions, we have got institutions which are commercial institutions, like take for example what the Tatas have built, and this is how you can grow. Then we come to the social space where you focus on being a trustee for society. You may be a trustee in some organization. You don't own that place, but you are operating in trust and you are taking decisions for the benefit of others without any personal benefit coming to you. You operate as a steward. And the next level is now as a political leader, as a social leader, you are taking decisions that impact others. But you are able to do that in a responsible manner when you are able to grow through these different levels. So this is the kind of clarity this systems give you. through just one single map. And there are many other maps which you can learn through in this scientific system. So when you begin at level number one, personal mastery, one of the fundamental things you need to distinguish for yourself is, are you a winner or are you a loser? There are two different games we play in life. We either play to win or we play to not lose. We either choose to master ourselves by staying away from uh, addictions, by developing the right habits in every single area of our life, or we become a slave to our addictions. We either procrastinate, we keep doing a lot of activity that does not give us results, we keep getting distracted in what we do, we take wrong decisions, net result, painful results. What happens if you are doing everything right? Actions you take will give you traction. And when you get enough traction, a time comes when you have attraction. Others come to you for what you offer. And the last is about having positive desired results. So very important to realize where you are and make course corrections at your core level in this particular area. Step number two is to connect with your own self, your own uniqueness. And each word that is put over there is very, very important. So there are this step is divided into two parts. One is to connect with your value. And second is to value your value. Often we may not connect with our value. Or if we connect, we are disparaging about ourselves. We are negative about ourselves. We are not grateful for what we have. And this is where we are not able to trigger and make our connection with abundance. So this step is very, very important. Connect with and value your own God-given uniqueness. There is a reason why you are the way you are. And therefore, one of the ways to get into this mode is to play to your strengths and not remain preoccupied with your weaknesses. Everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. But the trick is to focus on your strengths and play to your strengths. Let me elaborate a little bit on this. You see, what has happened is society and our educational system condition us to work on our weaknesses rather than our strengths. Let me explain this like this. When you are in school, you have 10 subjects and you get different marks in different subjects. What do our parents tell us? What do our teachers tell us? You are very good in these subjects. Now you need to work hard in these other subjects. What happens? You spend less time in what you are good at and start spending more time, maybe even taking tuitions, etc., spending more time and money on subjects you are not good at. As you keep going year after year, you give less and less time to what you are good at, and you give more and more time to what you're good at. By the time you are through, you start getting equal marks in all subjects. But what is the problem? What you excelled at, now you no longer excel. You have become average in that. And what you are not so good at, you have also become. So you are now average in everything. You are not excelling in something. When you step out into the real world, you find you are not equipped to face the challenges because you find you are one amongst many. This is where we need to have a system which strengthens our strengths and doesn't so much focus on our weaknesses. So, what do you do with the weaknesses? This is where team building comes in. When one person plays to the strengths and has certain weaknesses, you get somebody else who is playing to their strengths, but which complements your strengths and compensates for your weaknesses. You can have a team as small as a two-member team, which is ideal and perfect, complementing each other. You can have similarly a three-member team, a four-member team, and so on. Just focusing on playing to each one's strengths and balancing the weaknesses which are there. Each one concentrates on what they excel at. What's step number 3? You need to take the value that you offer and turn it into a commercial proposition. Now, this is an important step and a critical transition. Most of the time, when we make a transition from employees to business, we are excellent in delivering the value that we do. We are able to offer innovative products and services. There is only one problem. We are not able to make money from it. Let me give you a very simple example. I came across a person who was a prolific inventor. He had invented more than 100 different products. And you know what was common to all? Not one of them had been commercialized. They were excellent products, but if you don't put them out in the marketplace, nobody is going to be able to use it. If it is not useful, if it is not made usable, nobody will pay you money for it. So this is the difference between innovative value and commercial value. Commercial value comes when others are able to earn money from it. Let me explain again with a very small, simple example. Have you heard of ThyroCare? ThyroCare offers medical laboratory services. They do diagnostic tests. And this founder was giving a talk which I personally attended. And he was explaining the system that he used for designing his franchising model. And he said in most systems, the franchisor is the one who takes the big part, and the small part is what the franchisee gets. Most franchising systems are designed like this. It is designed to make the franchisor risk and keep the franchisee small. So if it is a 60-40 ratio of the profits, 60% would go to the franchisor, 40% would go to the franchisee. You know what ThyroCare did? ThyroCare said 60% to the franchisee, 40% to the franchisor. It was loaded in favor of the franchisee. And you know what was the logic he gave? He said, if they earn more, they will work harder and I will be able to sleep in peace. Get this system of how it is designed. This is commercial value. He has not created anything great. There are so many other labs also which are doing this. But the reason why somebody will choose to be a ThyroCare franchisee is because they earn more. So simple. This is the critical difference between innovative value, which we excel at, and commercial value, which we need to learn to develop. So this step is about how you are able to transform innovative value into an attractive commercial proposition which sells like hotcakes. Because this is where the exchange takes place. People take the commercial value you offer and pay you the money that you ask for. Step number 4 is now ensuring that you make a transition from a one-time transaction to ongoing transaction. This is where instead of each time hunting for business and for making one transaction at a time, you work out an arrangement by which money keeps coming to you on an ongoing basis. Let me give you an example. There was a lady who was making masalas at home. And people who got to know about it, the women around her, her social circle, they started complimenting her on the masala she made. And somebody suggested to her, why don't you sell it? She said, good idea. So she started making those masalas, putting them into packets and giving it to the local retailer to sell in a shop. And people liked the masalas, the orders increased, and she started doing it more and more. Now, what was she doing? She was using her mixer at home to make these masalas. Now, that mixer has a 60% rating, and there is only so much you can do. The demand was far more than the supply. And when she tried to meet that high demand, her mixer crashed. Business came to an end. So, my diagnosis to her was you are applying a domestic solution to an industrial opportunity. Let me repeat that. Most of the time, we are offering a non scalable solution to a scalable problem. When we are not able to scale, we are not able to grab the market opportunity. This is another important step. When you are able to craft a business model like this, it helps you to make that leap. Lot of complicated words in this. Let me take you through each point of it. First word, the very first word is craft. You cannot just copy a business model. Many people see somebody else who is successful, try to copy it, and make a fool of themselves. This is the biggest problem in multi level marketing. Every month at the event where those who are successful are showcased, everybody tries to copy that person. And what is the result? It works for that person, it may not work for you. Every month you try a different model. What happens? Even after months, even after years, if you have not identified what works for you and stick to it, you become a failure. So the first word is very important. Craft, not copy. Second, it needs to be yours, not somebody else's. It needs to be customized. So a lot of detailing goes in over here. This is where you may need professional help, but you need to develop it around you, not just take it the way it is for others. Very important point, it needs to be profitable. Let me give you an example. Imagine you are on a bicycle and you are riding. Now imagine a fat person sitting behind you. Now imagine another fat person sitting in front of you. Will you be able to move? You may not be able to. So a profitable business model means is it generating enough profits? Let's look at one more metaphor. Look at, say, maybe a car. Now, there is a limit to how much you can put into it. You cannot load it like a truck and expect it to go. So, amount of profit you need is very important to design your business model. So, the first thing that you need to know is how much money do I need in the month to sustain myself and the fixed costs of my businesses, all outgoings, including interest payments, EMIs, credit card payments, everything, all outgoing. You need to be clear about this number. Obviously, this number will change every month, but you need to know what is the lowest monthly figure you need, what is the highest monthly figure you need. Your business model should be so designed that it takes care of that highest monthly figure that you need. And that comes not from your turnover, not from your revenue, it comes from your profits. And your profits are determined by your cash flows. Now, let me explain this. You are supposed to get 100 rupees profit from a transaction with somebody. Now, when you are in a project based business, there is something called retention money. 10% of the transaction value is not paid by the person for who you have done this work immediately. It is held back for about 6 months at least, so that if there is anything that is not doing fine, which needs to be corrected, it gets done, it gets corrected Only after it is satisfactorily done is the balance 10% released, which means you get paid 90 rupees of your profit, 10%, 10 rupees is still left. Now imagine that your profit is 10%, which means 90% has been the cost, 10% is your profit. When you don't get paid that 10%, you have made zero profit on it. So even though it is very simply said, you need to have a profitable business model, practically we come to a lot of issues when you are actually working out on this. And when you don't take care of these details, even one small thing can put you out of business. So this is one aspect. It needs to be a robust model. Look at what happened to so many businesses because of COVID. Those who did not have a robust business model went down under. There was no exception. Even the biggest of businesses took a hit. So size doesn't matter, but the robustness of your business model work. Let me share a story with you. Uh, some of my coaches, including those who were in manufacturing, who had several hundred employees, were still fine during this COVID period, even when no business was happening, because of a solid, customized, profitable, robust business model. They had enough cash reserves to carry them through. This is how significant and how important it is to have a solid business model. Many people focus on the profitable part but not on the sustainable part. What is the difference between profitable and sustainable? You can have a profitable business by extracting everything you can from your consumer or from your franchisees. Let me give you an example. At one point of time, I was coaching 7 members of a particular organization which had a franchising system. So I was coaching 7 franchisees. So it was very evident that even though I was offering personalized coaching to 7 different people, I was meeting them alone, transacting with them alone. Certain patterns were very clear, which were at the organizational and business level. And what was happening was the organization had focused on extracting all available cash flow and taking it away from the frontline franchisees and channelizing it to the organization structurally, which means now from the following month onwards, there would be that much less cash flow available to the franchisee. So, in other words, it was a profitable business model. What happened in the months thereafter? The franchisees started seeing less and less money, and they became distressed. They were not able to work. They were not able to function. It was a profitable business model, not sustainable. When you don't take care of your front end people, when they don't see value in working hard and earning more, they will not put the effort and the system will implode on itself. This is the critical difference between being profitable and being sustainable. And then we come to the last criteria, and that is being scalable. Many people are able to build a business model that supports them and their family. But when you grow beyond a point, you need to increase your team size. More importantly, you need to move to a higher level. You need to take world class employees, and your business model cannot afford them. You need to put world class infrastructure in place, and your business model cannot afford it. You want to change your technology, your business model just cannot afford it. So, this is the difference. When you have a scalable business model, what happens is whether you have got one, whether you have got 100, or whether you have 1,000, it doesn't make a difference. The profit simply gets multiplied. Why? Because your basic unit is not only profitable, not only robust, not only sustainable, but it is eminently scalable. You can have n number of multiple units. Now, when you have a scalable business model, that is when you become extremely wealthy and rich. And all that is locked into one small engine which is your business model. So, getting your business model right is extremely critical. When you take professional help to get this right and do it, it will pay you huge amount of dividends lifelong. The business model is one wherein you don't have to hunt transaction after transaction. Your cash flows are like being on a conveyor belt. Every month, money just keeps coming in. That is the best, the most pleasurable benefit of having the right business model in place. Step number five, very, very counterintuitive. Most people make team building as step number five. For me, that is step number six. Step number five is working networks. So, why am I putting networks before teams? Because teams are a fixed cost. Whether you transact or not, whether you have cash flows or not, you have to pay a fixed salary. And therefore, when you take employees first, you end up with a fixed cost. Let me share an example about this here. So there was an entrepreneur who had left a business partnership and wanting to start a second business. And she was a very smart entrepreneur. Why do I say she's smart? Because she took me on as a coach before she started a business. Most of the time, we approach a coach when we are in trouble. Now, understand why I'm calling her smart. She said, I need a company. I told her, you don't need a company. She said, I need employees. I said, you don't need employees. She said, I need an accountant. I said, you don't need an accountant. You need a CA to help you file your returns. She said, I need an office. I said, you don't need an office. You can work from home. And this was much before COVID. And then she was in the environment business. So she said, I need a place to keep my things. And I told her, you don't need your own place. She took a walk around the neighborhood. Yes, women are smarter than men. She found a bungalow with an abandoned garden. She approached the owner, offering to maintain his garden if she allowed him to keep her things there. And the owner said yes. Now tell me, what are her fixed costs at the start of a new business? She works from home. She works as a proprietor. She makes her own letterheads on her computer. She uses her address, etc., to do her registrations. She opens a current account and puts in the minimum amount she can start, which means even if she does a single transaction, she is profitable. Get the huge difference between the resource based model and the resourcefulness based model, and get the distinction between putting teams first versus putting your network and associates first. She created, all that she needed was to have an agreement with that owner, and it was a verbal agreement, and that's it. Not the best of arrangements, but look at how you can start. It is indeed very easy to start. But this is where, because you can't think through it, talking to somebody who can guide you in it will make a lot of difference. So, when you focus on cultivating the right relationships, it helps you to grow. So, let me explain this again with an example. A friend of mine who is very supportive by nature met a stranger, had pity on him, and because he was homeless, put him up at his residence. Every morning, the wife would wake up, make hot chapatis, give this guy a warm breakfast, fresh. He had an afternoon meal, he had a dinner, and he was taken care of. But no sign of moving out. He was having liquor and he would drink like a fish. No word of moving out. So finally, my friend didn't know what to do and he spoke to me. And I made this friend of mine realize two different kinds of friendships. I said, one kind of a relationship, and I took him to biology to understand this. Remember what we studied in terms of symbiotic and parasitic? So, what is a symbiotic relationship in nature? One lives on the other without draining the other, without becoming a load on the other. What is a parasitic relationship? You live at the cost of the other. It is a draining. So, when you are in a parasitic relationship, it drains you and your resources. And when you are in a symbiotic relationship, you feel uplifted, positive, supported. How do you recognize whether you are in a symbiotic relationship or a parasitic relationship? Pay attention to your money, to your cash flow. Is it going out? Is it remaining there? Is it coming in? Second, pay conscious attention to your energy levels. After you have interacted with somebody, do you feel listless, down, low, or do you feel energized, enthusiastic, and all charged up? Very easy to recognize and differentiate whether you are in a symbiotic relationship or a parasitic relationship. So, similarly, in your networks, you need to cultivate those kind of relationships which are focused on uplifting you, empowering you, and making you richer instead of draining you, depending on you, and pulling you down. So, this criteria is very, very important. Nurture those relationships that protect and escalate net worth. So intangible is linked to tangible. So they may not add to your net worth, but at least they don't drain it. It remains where it is. So your net worth is protected, or they help you to grow your net worth. Very, very critical criteria. Once you are able to have a business model that operates with associates, it is what we call as an asset light model, because you don't own anything which you have to pay for. Your fixed costs are minimal. This is a very, very important principle which is often violated in the resource based model. In the resource based model, you put everything in place and then start the business. So, what happens? Your fixed costs are way above, and you have to work very, very hard just to be ensured that you are able to have a sustainable, viable model. So, when you have that model, you need to scale that model to be able to support you, your teams, and the families of all the people concerned. When you're able to have that kind of a model, you're creating wealth for yourself and for others. And the business model is not only then robust and sustainable, it is also viable because it is being able to carry everybody with you. You can then afford a world class team, world class infrastructure, world class technology, and consistently deliver world class service. This is a big step. This is where now you are no longer thinking about yourself. The way you think and operate at step number 7 is, when I am not there, how is this going to operate? So you put a constitution in place, you put the funding in place, you get a trust established, you put things in, you get the right people who are trustworthy and who will act as stewards for your legacy. So this entire thing is about building and leaving your legacy, because now you realize you are not going to be here forever. And this is where you focus on structuring everything in a way that even when you are gone, everything works exactly the way you designed it. Very, very few people have the vision and the ability to reach the stage and actually carry this through. But this is step number 7. And this is where it is visionaries who have created and left these institutions are the ones who continue to get blessings long after they are gone. This is where you structure resilient institutions. Why? Because there will be economic ups and downs. There will be social ups and downs. There will be a whole lot of things. An institution is a resilient institution, which takes all these ups and downs in its stride. So you will have a 2,000-year-old institution. You will have 100-year-old institution, 200-year-old institution. Why? These have moved across generations. So this is where the way to do this is by synergizing structures, processes, technology, infrastructure, and team. This is high-end work. This is where you will need a lot of professional inputs from a host of people and even maybe organizations so that you can deliver high quality professional service consistently without depending on any one individual. I'm taking you to another map, a little bit extra, but this will tell you what are the levels at which you can play. Can you see my screen?
No, please.
Okay, I'll
Not
just share it
seen.
again. Yeah, I'll share it again. You have to read this bottom up. The descriptive line will help you to recognize at what level you or another person is. The levels in red is called the foundation prism. This is where you need personal mastery to be able to grow out of this and earn the right to move to the next 3 level prism. So in this model, you need to earn the right. You cannot just parachute yourself to a particular level. And you earn the right by internalizing practical learning. It is learning which your subconscious has internalized. So at level 1, you have negative cash flows. Every month you're going deeper and deeper into debt. It doesn't matter how big or small you are. As long as your monthly cash flows are negative, you are at level 1, which is victim. Level 2 is net cash flow is zero. Whatever is coming in is going out. At the end of the month, nothing left for you. You're making just enough to survive. Level 3 is you are on a treadmill which you cannot get off. Every day you need to work so that enough money comes in at the end of the month. When you earn the right to move up, it means you have created a personal brand. You have chosen a niche which you can lead and dominate. And the marketplace, people, buyers recognize you are offering value in this space. That is when you become a player. You are no longer a spectator. At the foundation prism, say level 3, you are busy making others rich. You are playing other people's game. When you move to the enterprise prism, you start playing your own game. And this is why we call it self employed. So, two parts to that. I do what I love. So, if you're not doing what you love, you're not at player level, you are probably at worker or survivor level. Very important to do what you love. And second is then creating your own flow. You are able to influence from that level. So when you do that, that is when you are at clear level. You have the cash flow that you need. You are comfortable because you have got enough profits. You are not working hard. You are attracting. You are not chasing. At worker level, you are chasing money, but at these levels, you are attracting resources, connections, people, partnerships, everything. Next level is when you have been able to put everything into an enterprise. So this is where you have synergized teams and systems, and it operates without your physical presence. That is when you are at performer level. You are creating flow through team and rhythm. Next level is now you have got multiple partners, multiple businesses, multiple investments. You are a multi business owner or you are an investor in multiple businesses. These three levels, which are in blue, is about personal success, material success. This is where we focus on owning a home, vehicle, building our net worth, retirement planning, everything. All about measurables. Next three levels is about selfless social contribution. And this is where, when you are a selfish social contributor, this is where we land up with corruption. So, see how clinically this thing is. So, who is a trustee? A trustee is one who is operating in trust, who is doing something very authentically in the interest of those of the beneficiaries. When you break trust, you are not operating as a trustee. When you are trying to do something on the sly, you are not being a trustee. So the term should not be misused. And you can only be a trustee, an authentic trustee, when you are not focused on personal benefit. When personal gain comes into the picture, you cannot operate as a selfless trustee. Next level is composer. These are the people who make the rules of the game. They are at the top of their field, whether it is politics, because they are in government, whether it is in industry, because they are the ones who are the market leaders, or wherever. They could be in religion, where they are the ones who determine how the religion needs to be lived. So this is the level of composer. The last level you cannot choose. Society does it for us. Who are the people we study in history? They are the people who have made a huge difference to large sections of civilization, of society, to the environment. Legends are who we study. They are the people who we remember. Everybody else is forgotten. And they are remembered because of their giving, not because of what they have taken. So understand how the entire system is designed on giving, not on taking. The resource based model is completely different. Three levels in red, foundation prism. Three levels in blue, commercial marketplace. Three levels in purple. This is about selfless social contribution. Can you see very clearly how it is an integrated model? So you need to know how you are, how at what level you are, and how to move to the next level. Clinically established. Let me elaborate a little bit more on this. Some of the terms which have been used over here are terms taken from music. So take for example, player, performer, conductor, composer. Four terms which have been taken from music. So those who are in music may be able to relate to this more easily. Who is a player? A player is a person who plays the instrument. So you may also have heard of one person bands. They play multiple instruments, and that very powerfully explains who a player is. One person doing everything. This is what is called as the octopus effect. Small brain, multiple hands, all flying about, so a lot of activity, and everything sucks. Next musical term is performer. Who is a performer? A performer is one who performs. Now, this person is not playing multiple instruments, is playing a single instrument. And he's offering a performance. A performance is only possible when it is orchestrated. Orchestrated means there is a written score which is being used, and it is being used by trained people who are delivering that performance in harmony. So can you see I create flow through team and rhythm? A performance that is not created, that is not rhythmic, will sound horrible. Third term is conductor. Who is a conductor? Very interesting term, very interesting metaphor. Players and performers face the audience. A conductor turns his back to the audience, turns his back to the marketplace, and is facing the players and performers. Very, very important metaphor. A conductor is facing his players and performers, not the marketplace. And many times you will find these are really silent people, but having huge influence. And this is the reason why. And we come to the fourth musical term, which is composer. A composer composes, he need not attend the performance. He is not even seen anywhere. Somebody will take the composition and act on it. Physical presence not required. Here is another scientific correlation. Your net cash flow, your disposable income, the amount you are able to invest, the amount you are able to save and invest is directly linked at the level at which you are playing. So conversely, by actually seeing how much money you are actually putting into your savings or investment account will determine at what level you are. That is why they say numbers do not lie. You can delude yourself thinking you are a composer, but your numbers will tell you exactly at what level you are. This is the reason bank managers ask for financial statements. They don't go by your story. Now, this is about when I was introduced, it was said 6 levels of coaching. I've created a foundation program which is content based. It is not a coaching program. So, 6 levels of coaching and one content based foundation program. This is what I offer. It is based on the levels which are there. And again, to make you aware, see the clear maps which are established, which is not available in a resource based model. There will be a simple self-assessment form on my website www.passionpranya.in. What will this self-assessment do? It will take you less than a minute to fill it, but you will know what is the number one core activity you need to focus on. So don't try to go to the highest level. Don't look at the aspiration or where you want to be. Look at what is the immediate action point which you can most relate with. Be truthful to yourself. It will help you to turn action into traction. Thank you. I finished my presentation. I'm ready for questions.
Thank you, sir. I request participants, if you all have questions, then you all can please put it in the chat box. Do you all have any questions?
Somebody will have to read out questions because I'm not able to follow it as of now. You can even make your comments or any insights that you have, but main is about anything that you want me to elaborate on. You can also put down in the chat what was your biggest learning? What was the biggest insight you feel you can apply to yourself?
participants, do you all have any questions?
How to remain motivated even when in level 1 or 2? Okay. So, David, this system is designed on the principle of flow. I'm just wanting to share my screen. Give me a second. Yeah. So, David, what happens is look at these levels. Now, if you are at level 1, okay, you need to focus on getting money somehow and being a provider to the family. This is not the time to follow your passion, even though this is a passion based system. When you're at level 1, you need to get to survival level as far as possible, as fast as possible, by hook or by crook. What do? You need to connect, you need to see how you can be useful to somebody else. And that is how you can make an exchange by giving your time and earning the money. This should be your number one priority at victim level. Now, why does this not happen? Let me make you aware of two different paradigms operating over here. One is that of a designer, and another one is that of a driver. Now, what happens is why are we at victim level? We are at victim level because we are choosing to invest our time, effort, and money the way we want. I'm repeating this. It may not be pleasant to hear, but please get this. The reason I was at a victim level is because I was deciding how to spend my time, money, and effort. In other words, I was doing what I liked, not doing what was required. My family needs food on the table, but I was more interested in doing whatever I liked, maybe spending time playing games on the devices or being with my friends or networking or anything. So get this, I am doing what I want. The When you take responsibility to do what is required, you are stepping out of your comfort zone. And that is what helps you to make a transition from victim to survivor. When you let go of making your choices and choose to drive and do what is required. When you are driving a vehicle, suppose you are driving a taxi, your money comes when you go where your customer wants. You don't have freedom of choice, you have freedom of movement. When you take that person, your hire, from one place to another, you get paid the fare. So get this difference between freedom of choice and freedom of movement. You let go of freedom of choice, which you enjoyed at victim level subconsciously, and you take up freedom of movement, which takes you to survival level. Now, when you are at survival level, you have freedom of movement, but you don't have freedom of choice because you don't have enough money. So the way to move to worker level is again now choose to offer value to somebody who is already in flow. So when you become an employee in an organization, what are you doing? You are becoming part of that person's system. That person is successful. He is getting cash flows. You offer your time, skill sets, value to earn a salary. That is how you move three. Now, what happens when you become an employee? You lose freedom of movement. You need to report at a particular time in a particular place and remain there till you deliver something. You lose freedom of movement, but you gain freedom of choice. You can use different ways to deliver value to your employer. And because you are making more money, you have freedom of choice now to do things which you are not able to do when you are at survival level. Have I answered your question, David?
So
Yes,
there
sir.
are
Thank
no.
you. Yeah. What are the other questions?
So yeah, one question is how good is the current business scenario to start a business?
Okay. Most millionaires are made during times of depression and during downtimes. Why? Because your focus is on savings, your focus is on having an asset light model, your focus is on delivering uh, optimal value at minimal price. So you are very conscious of your cost structures. When economic situation improves and you continue to follow this discipline and you are able to scale your business, you become a millionaire. So any time is a good time to start a business. If things are difficult, we are going through a depression, it is an excellent time to start a business.
So there are other questions.
Just read out
One
one
is,
question after the other.
you know, so there is one question like how one can become an entrepreneur without any investment.
I just gave you the story about that lady who wanted employees, company, office, accountant, and I said no to all of that. But she can start working from home. She can register everything as a proprietor using a home address, open a current account, and have agreements with others for whatever she may require.
Yeah. So there is another question. What is the key to attract customers to your business?
Okay, so three steps. Action, please write these three words one above the other. So beginning down. So you write action down. Above that, you write traction. And above that, you write attraction. You need to make the transition from action to traction. How do you take the right actions? Right actions are living your passions. One second, let me try sharing a screen. One second.
So there
Yeah,
is one question for you. Like
yeah.
how you actually found your passion if you are not known to it? How do you actually find the thing which you love?
Okay, the only way you can do this is by trying things out. How do you buy shoes? How do you buy shoes? You buy shoes by trying them out, correct? If you don't try them out, you are not able to buy shoes. Yeah, give me one second. So the only way to try your passion, to know about your passions, is by actually living them, trying it out practically. You can't do academic exercises and psychometric tests and arrive at your passions. You may know what your passions are, but unless you test them out in the real world, you will not know what your passions are. How do you recognize them? Let's look at some simple examples. When we are in school or college, we may struggle to wake up on college days. But what happens when there is a picnic? What happens when there is a social event? What happens when we are going to be meeting new people? We jump out of bed. So, passions, one of the indicators of knowing about passions is to be able to recognize what is it that sparks you? What is it that makes you alive, brings you alive? And what is it that enlivens you? What is it that makes you feel light? What is it that you will pay others money for letting you do it? Where is it that you lose track of time, effort, money when you're doing that kind of activity? That is your passion. Okay, I'm sharing my screen to answer that question. Okay, so this is what is called as a mind map. And what you can see is just concentrate on these 6 steps. Okay, these first 6 steps. So can you see action? I told you about action, traction, attraction. I told you to write one above the other. So this is what you know. So right actions is living your passions and investing more than 50% of your time in your natural ability. Very difficult now to explain what your natural ability in today's session, but this is what you need to do. If you are taking actions but you are not really moving ahead, it means either you're not living your passions, you are operating from competence, you're just trying to sell something, or you are not operating from your natural ability, or you are not investing more than 50% of your time in your natural ability. So this is about taking the right action. You will get traction when you are perceived as a trustworthy niche expert by your market. And you are able to cultivate your own personal uplifting network. So this is the importance and the difference between networking and building your own network. And attraction comes when you are perceived to be a principled person, a person of character, which means you are a person of integrity. What you promise, you deliver every single time. Your word is enough. This is what causes attraction. So, this is about character. And the other one is about your purpose. Purpose is about what you give. What is the biggest benefit others are getting because of you? How are they getting uplifted, whether in life, whether in business, whether in relationships, whatever? Where is the experience of their life and livelihood getting different? So, your purpose is your highest attractor. Let me give you an example. Let's look at a Mother Teresa. She was not rich. She did not have any money of her own. But when she required anything, she would put it out, and there would be enough people who will come and give her the resources or the funding required to put in place the institutions she needed. This is the meaning of your inspiring purpose is your highest attractor. So, 6 steps, two for each, which will take you from action to traction to attraction, all clinically, scientifically, methodically laid out. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time. I really enjoyed sharing whatever I know about this. And as I am just inviting you once again to please do that self assessment, because from there you could get the guidance to move ahead. So I'm just sharing that last screen of mine whilst you can end the session.
Thank you, sir. I request the participants to please fill in the feedback form which has been put in the chat box in the Google Meet and also on the YouTube. Now I request our Vice Principal, Dr. Rodney De Silva, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. It's my privilege to thank Mr. Raymond D'Souza for his very enlightening talk on creating entrepreneur wealth joyfully. So it was a real joy listening to you. You put your ideas through so simply and subtly that it was, and I can say that you are very passionate about it. So your talk has acted as a confidence building and confidence fortifying mechanism for our students, many of whom are considering entrepreneurship. I thank my team of teachers, Stessa, Lizette, Dr. Lira, and I thank my principal also for allowing us this nice forum. And sir, I liked your idea of action, traction, and attraction very much. So we hope that we will get opportunities in the future to listen to you some other time. And on behalf of my management, my principal, and all my teachers and students, I thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you all. Have a nice day.